Lion of protection, the sacred symbol in Egyptian amulets, jewelry, and rituals.
What if the roar of a lion could echo the very voice of the gods? In ancient Egypt, every depiction of a lion, from the grandest temple statue to the smallest golden bead, was more than just an image of a powerful beast. It was a manifestation of divine might, a guardian against the encroaching darkness. This wasn't merely art. It was a sacred invocation, a channel for celestial power meant to safeguard both the living and the dead on their perilous journeys. The roar of divinity, the lion was the undisputed symbol of royal authority and ferocious strength, its image deeply woven into the fabric of Egyptian belief. Pharaohs, seen as gods on earth, often identified with the lion to project their power and invincibility. They were depicted as sphinx, a fusion of human intellect and leonine might guarding the sacred precincts of their tombs and temples. In battle, the king was the lion of the battlefield, his fury unleashed upon the enemies of Egypt. This association was so profound that amulets in the form of a lion or its head were worn by soldiers and nobles alike. These were not simple ornaments but potent charms, believed to imbue the wearer with the courage, strength, and protective aura of the great cat, turning fear into fortitude and vulnerability into valor. The lion's roar was thought to be a divine decree, scattering evil spirits and asserting cosmic order over the forces of chaos. Born from the sun, the lion's connection to divinity was most powerfully expressed through its link to the sun god, Ra, as the ultimate source of life and power. Ra was often depicted with a lion's head, embodying his fiery, untamable nature. This solar connection gave rise to a pantheon of leonine deities, most notably the fearsome goddess Sekhmet, the powerful one. Born from the fire of Ra's eye to punish humanity, her breath was the hot desert wind, and her presence was both a threat and a promise of protection. Yet she was also a goddess of healing, her ferocity capable of destroying disease and warding off plagues. Priests performed intricate rituals in her name, and her amulets were cherished as powerful tools for personal security. Every carving of Sekhmet, every lion-headed effigy, was a conduit for this solar fire, a piece of the sun's own defensive magic brought down to earth to protect its children from the shadows. We read journeying back to the land of the pharaohs to uncover the secrets of one of its most powerful symbols, the mighty lion. When you think of ancient Egypt, you might picture pyramids, sphinx, and gods with animal heads. But the lion held a special fearsome place in their world. It wasn't just another animal. It was the ultimate symbol of royalty, strength, and divine authority. The pharaoh himself was often depicted as a lion or a sphinx, a lion's body with a human head to show he possessed the lion's raw power and courage. This wasn't just propaganda, it was a deep-seated belief. The lion was the king of the beasts, so naturally, the king of Egypt shared its spirit. Have you ever seen those incredible hunting scenes carved on temple walls? They often show the pharaoh bravely confronting a lion. These weren't just about showing off his hunting skills. They were symbolic battles where the pharaoh proved he could conquer the most powerful forces of nature, reinforcing his divine right to rule and protect his people from chaos. The lion represented the untamed, dangerous world, and the pharaoh was the one who could master it. But the lion's power wasn't just for kings. Its image was used everywhere as a symbol of fierce protection. Think about it. Who wouldn't want a lion guarding their home or their family? The Egyptians certainly did. Lion-headed deities like the powerful goddess Sekhmet were both feared and revered. Sekhmet was a warrior goddess of healing and destruction, a protector of the righteous and a punisher of enemies. Her lioness form embodied this dual nature, the gentle strength of a mother and the terrifying fury of a predator. This protective power trickled down into everyday life. People wore lion amulets for courage and to ward off danger. Furniture, like beds and chairs, was often decorated with lion feet, symbolically guarding the owner even while they slept. The lion was a constant, watchful presence, a guardian against the darkness and a source of incredible strength. From the grandest temples to the most personal jewelry, the lion roared through ancient Egyptian culture as a timeless emblem of power, royalty, and unwavering protection. Have you ever wondered why lions appear so frequently in ancient Egyptian art? It's not just because they roamed the deserts. For the Egyptians, the lion was a powerhouse of symbolism, a creature of breathtaking duality. Let's dive into the world of these majestic beasts and uncover their sacred secrets. On one hand, the lion was the ultimate symbol of danger and untamed chaos. Imagine living near the desert's edge. A lion's roar in the night would be a terrifying reminder of nature's raw, destructive power. This fearsome aspect was often associated with the scorching, unforgiving sun. The god Re in his vengeful form could send his eye, often depicted as a lioness goddess like Sekhmet, to unleash plagues and destruction upon humanity as punishment. Sekhmet, whose name means the powerful one, was a warrior goddess of healing and fierce protection, but also of pestilence. Her wrath was legendary, a force of nature that demanded respect and appeasement through complex rituals. She was the embodiment of the sun's destructive heat, a lioness you did not want to cross. But here's where it gets fascinating. The very same power that could destroy could also protect. The Egyptians, in their profound wisdom, believed that by harnessing this ferocious energy, they could turn it to their advantage. This is the other side of a lion's nature, the guardian. Think about it, what better protector for the pharaoh, the kingdom, or even the sacred temples than the most feared predator in the land? Lion imagery was everywhere, a divine security system. Two lions, or sphinx, were often shown sitting back to back, representing the horizon. This was the Aker, guarding the gateway to the underworld, protecting the sun as it journeyed through the night. They symbolized yesterday and tomorrow, watching over the eternal cycle of death and rebirth. This protective power trickled down to everyday life. People wore lion amulets for courage and to ward off danger. Lion-headed figures adorned furniture, especially beds, to guard the sleeper during their vulnerable nightly journey into the dream world. The lion wasn't just a symbol of the king's might. It was a personal guardian, a source of strength you could wear around your neck. From the fierce goddess Sekhmet to the guardian Aker, the lion's dual nature as both a destroyer and a protector reveals the ancient Egyptians' deep understanding of balance. They saw that the greatest dangers often held the keys to the greatest safety. Ever wondered why the lion, a creature of the African savanna, became such a powerful symbol in ancient Egypt, thousands of miles from the pyramids? It wasn't just about strength. It was about divine power, protection, and royalty itself. Let's uncover the secrets of the lion in Egyptian culture. The lion wasn't just an animal. It was a manifestation of the gods. Think of Sekhmet, the lioness-headed goddess of war and healing. Wearing her image was like carrying a shield against chaos. Egyptians believed these amulets didn't just represent protection. They were asterisk protection, imbued with the goddess's fierce spirit to ward off evil and illness. It was a personal guardian you could hold in your hand. But the lion symbolism reached its peak with the pharaohs. The king wasn't just a ruler. He was the living embodiment of Horus, and his power was often represented by the lion. When you see a pharaoh depicted as a sphinx, the body of a lion with a human head, it is a powerful statement. It signifies the fusion of divine, untamed strength with human intellect and authority. This wasn't just art. It was a political and religious declaration that the pharaoh possessed the might of the greatest predator on earth. From small, personal amulets to massive royal monuments, the lion was a constant presence. It was a symbol of divine ferocity and a mark of ultimate power. Pharaohs wore lion-themed jewelry not just for its beauty but to channel the animal's courage and strength. Pectorals, bracelets, and rings decorated with lions were more than just adornments. They were emblems of their divine right to rule and their role as the fierce protectors of Egypt. The roar of the lion was the voice of authority, echoing from the gods themselves through the pharaoh. So the next time you see a lion in Egyptian art, remember, it's more than just a wild animal. It's a symbol of divine protection, a mark of royal power, and a guardian spirit that has watched over Egypt for millennia. Have you ever wondered what gave ancient Egyptian warriors their legendary courage? It wasn't just training or tactics. They carried a secret weapon, a powerful symbol of strength and protection, worn close to their hearts. Today, we're uncovering the story of the lion, the ultimate guardian in ancient Egyptian jewelry. In the blistering heat of the desert and the chaos of battle, an Egyptian warrior needed more than just a shield. They needed divine protection, a tangible link to the gods. And what better symbol of raw power and ferocity than the lion? The Egyptians revered lions for their incredible strength and courage. They saw the lioness, a fierce hunter and protector of her cubs, as the embodiment of divine fury and maternal care. This dual nature made the lion the perfect symbol for a warrior's amulet. These weren't just decorative pieces. They were powerful talismans believed to be infused with the spirit of the lion itself. Imagine a warrior preparing for battle, fastening a pectoral adorned with a lion's head, or a ring carved in the image of the lion-headed goddess, Sekhmet. These jewels were crafted from gold, lapis lazuli, and carnelian, materials thought to have their own magical properties. Wearing them was a declaration. It meant you were channeling the lion's might, that you were fearless, and that a divine protector was watching over you. These amulets served as a constant reminder of the wearer's own inner strength. When facing overwhelming odds, a warrior could touch his lion amulet and feel a surge of courage, believing the spirit of the great beast was with him. These weren't just symbols of aggression. They were emblems of royal authority and divine right, as the pharaoh himself was often depicted as a lion or a sphinx, a hybrid of human intelligence and lion strength. So the warrior wasn't just fighting for his king. He was embodying the king's own divine power. From magnificent necklaces to intricate bracelets, the lion motif was a staple in the warrior's arsenal. It was a fusion of art, faith, and function, transforming a simple piece of jewelry into a life-saving shield. The next time you see an ancient Egyptian artifact bearing the image of a lion, remember the warrior who might have worn it, marching into the unknown, with the heart of a lion beating against his chest. Have you ever marveled at the intricate jewelry of ancient Egypt and wondered about the powerful stories hidden within? It wasn't just about beauty or wealth. For the ancient Egyptians, jewelry was a vital tool for magic, healing, and connecting with the divine. And one of the most powerful symbols you'll find is the mighty lion. Imagine an Egyptian priestess adorned with a golden amulet shaped like a lioness head. This wasn't just a fashion statement. It was a direct link to goddesses like Sekhmet, the fierce lioness deity of healing and protection. These pieces were believed to channel her power, warding off sickness and evil spirits. When a priest wore a lion symbol, they weren't just wearing jewelry. They were embodying the strength and authority of the gods themselves. These lion-themed pieces were central to sacred rituals. In ceremonies dedicated to healing, a priest might hold a lion figurine or wear a pectoral featuring the goddess Sekhmet to invoke her formidable presence. They believed the raw power of the lion could literally destroy disease and purify the body and spirit. Think about the famous artifacts from Tutankhamun's tomb. Many feature lion imagery, from the arms of his throne to the clasps on his bracelets. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a declaration of his divine right to rule, protected by the most fearsome creature in their world. The lion was more than an animal. It was a symbol of divine fury, royal authority, and potent healing magic. Every time an ancient Egyptian wore a lion amulet, they were wrapping themselves in a cloak of divine protection, a tradition that shows us just how deeply their beliefs were woven into the very fabric of their daily lives. I hope this has given you a new appreciation for the incredible symbolism in Egyptian art. Have you ever wondered what gave ancient Egyptian pharaohs their legendary power? It wasn't just gold and grand pyramids. It was something far more symbolic, a force of nature captured in their most sacred treasures, the lion. This majestic predator was the ultimate emblem of royalty and divine authority. Pharaohs were often depicted as sphinx, part human, part lion, showcasing their connection to this powerful beast. The lion represented not just raw strength, but also the sun's fiery energy through its association with the solar deity Re. Look at the goddess Sekhmet, the lioness-headed warrior. She was both a fearsome destroyer and a powerful healer, embodying the dual nature of protection and righteous fury. Egyptians believed invoking her image could ward off plagues and defeat enemies. But the lion's protection wasn't just for the living, it was crucial for the journey into the afterlife. In the realm of the dead, danger lurked around every corner. To navigate this perilous path, the deceased were equipped with powerful amulets, and lion-shaped charms were among the most vital. These weren't just decorative trinkets. They were enchanted objects, believed to imbue the wearer with the lion's courage and ferocity. Think of the famous Tutankhamun. Among his treasures were incredible pieces of lion-themed jewelry, like ornate bracelets and a stunning headdress designed to look like two lions, back to back. This wasn't just for show. These lions were symbolic guardians, watching over the young king as he slept in the eternal realm, protecting him from evil spirits. The Akher, a symbol of two lions facing away from each other, represented the horizon, the guardian of yesterday and tomorrow, sunrise and sunset. Placing this symbol in the tomb ensured a safe passage from one day to the next, from life into eternity. From the amulets clutched by mummies to the grand statues guarding temples, the lion was an ever-present protector in ancient Egypt. It was a symbol of the untamed power of nature, harnessed to defend royalty, bless the living, and guide the dead. The roar of the lion echoed through the afterlife, a timeless promise of safety and rebirth. We're journeying back in time to the mystical world of ancient Egypt to uncover the secrets behind one of its most powerful symbols, the lion. Why was this majestic creature so revered, and how did it become a cornerstone of protection in their daily and spiritual lives? Imagine walking through the bustling streets of Thebes thousands of years ago. You'd see people from all walks of life, from the pharaoh down to the humble artisan wearing small, intricately carved charms. These weren't just decorative pieces. They were amulets, believed to be imbued with magical properties. An amulet was a personal shield, a pocket-sized guardian that warded off danger, sickness, and malevolent spirits. It was an essential part of the ancient Egyptian toolkit for navigating a world they saw as filled with both divine blessings and unseen threats. The magic wasn't just in the object itself, but in the profound belief placed in its power. So how did these sacred amulets come into being? Their origins are as ancient as the civilization itself, born from a deep observation of the natural world. The Egyptians saw divinity in the creatures around them, and they associated specific animals with the attributes of their gods. The lion, with its raw power, ferocious roar, and noble presence, was a natural symbol of strength, courage, and royalty. It was linked to several powerful deities, including the fierce warrior goddess Sekhmet, who could both unleash and prevent plagues. To harness this protective energy, artisans began crafting lion amulets from materials like faience, carnelian, and gold. They believed that by wearing the image of a lion, they could channel its formidable spirit. These weren't just mass-produced trinkets. Each amulet was created with intention, often consecrated through rituals to activate its magical potential. A lion amulet wasn't simply a piece of jewelry. It was a fragment of divine power, a tangible prayer for safety worn close to the heart. It was a promise of protection, whispered from the gods into the hands of mortals, ensuring their journey through life and into the afterlife was a safe one. What an incredible fusion of art, belief, and survival. The lion amulet is a testament to the ancient Egyptian desire for security in a mysterious world. Have you ever wondered why lions, these powerful kings of the savannah, were so revered in ancient Egypt? It wasn't just about their strength. It was about divine protection, and no deity embodied this more fiercely than the lioness goddess, Sekhmet. Let's dive into the sacred world of Egyptian lion symbolism. In the sun-drenched lands of the pharaohs, the lion was a symbol of royalty, power, and untamable force. Pharaohs were often depicted as sphinx human heads on lion bodies to show they possessed both divine wisdom and leonine strength. But when it came to personal protection, the ancient Egyptians turned to Sekhmet, the powerful one. She was a formidable goddess, with the head of a lioness and the body of a woman, often crowned with a sun disk. Sekhmet was the goddess of war, healing, and divine retribution. She was both a fearsome protector of the righteous and a terrifying force against enemies. To carry her image was to invoke her mighty spirit. This is where amulets come in. Small, personal, and powerful, amulets of Sekhmet were incredibly popular. These weren't just pretty pieces of jewelry. They were magical objects believed to grant the wearer courage, strength, and most importantly, protection from evil, disease, and danger. Imagine an ancient Egyptian soldier heading into battle, clutching a small faience amulet of Sekhmet, feeling her fierce energy shielding him. Or a mother placing one around her child's neck to ward off sickness. These amulets were crafted from materials like faience, a type of glazed ceramic, often in a striking blue-green color symbolizing life and rebirth, as well as gold and semi-precious stones. Each one was a miniature beacon of divine power. Priests would perform rituals to activate them, infusing them with the goddess's spirit. So the next time you see an Egyptian artifact depicting a lion or lioness, remember it's more than just art. It's a connection to a belief system where the raw power of nature was harnessed for divine protection, with the mighty Sekhmet leading the charge. The lion wasn't just an animal, it was a guardian. We've explored how lions were seen as fierce protectors, but how did the Egyptians activate that power? It wasn't just about carving a lion onto an amulet. It was about bringing that symbol to life through sacred rituals. Imagine a high priest cloaked in leopard skin, standing under the stars. He holds a newly crafted lion amulet, perhaps made of carnelian or gold, glinting in the torchlight. This wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was a vessel waiting to be filled with divine energy. The ritual activation was a multi-sensory experience. The priest would recite specific incantations, powerful words spoken to awaken the spirit of the lion within the object. These weren't just any words. They were ancient spells, often taken from sacred texts like the Book of the Dead, designed to invoke gods and goddesses associated with the lion, like Sekhmet, the fierce lioness-headed goddess of healing and destruction. As he chanted, he might anoint the amulet with sacred oils or pass it through the smoke of burning incense, like myrrh or frankincense. This process, known as censing, was meant to purify the object and make it a worthy home for the protective spirit. But the ritual didn't stop there. Gestures were just as important as words. The priest might make specific hand movements, drawing celestial energy and directing it into the amulet. Sometimes, the object would be placed on an altar, alongside offerings for the god's bread, beer, and flowers to gain their favor. For a royal ritual, the amulet might even be touched to a statue of a god, transferring a spark of its divine essence directly. This entire ceremony was designed to imbue the amulet with a living, breathing power, transforming it from a simple carving into a potent shield against evil, chaos, and sickness. The person wearing it wouldn't just be wearing a symbol. They'd be carrying a fragment of divine leonine might, charged and ready to defend them in both this life and the next. We've explored how lions were seen as fierce protectors, but how did the Egyptians activate that power? It wasn't just about carving a lion onto an amulet. It was about bringing that symbol to life through sacred rituals. Imagine a high priest, cloaked in leopard skin, standing under the stars. He holds a newly crafted lion amulet, perhaps made of carnelian or gold, glinting in the torchlight. This wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was a vessel waiting to be filled with divine energy. The ritual activation was a multi-sensory experience. The priest would recite specific incantations, powerful words spoken to awaken the spirit of the lion within the object. These weren't just any words. They were ancient spells, often taken from sacred texts like the Book of the Dead, designed to invoke gods and goddesses associated with the lion, like Sekhmet, the fierce lioness-headed goddess of healing and destruction. As he chanted, he might anoint the amulet with sacred oils or pass it through the smoke of burning incense, like myrrh or frankincense. This process, known as censing, was meant to purify the object and make it a worthy home for the protective spirit. But the ritual didn't stop there. Gestures were just as important as words. The priest might make specific hand movements, drawing celestial energy and directing it into the amulet. Sometimes, the object would be placed on an altar, alongside offerings for the god's bread, beer, and flowers to gain their favor. For a royal ritual, the amulet might even be touched to a statue of a god, transferring a spark of its divine essence directly. This entire ceremony was designed to imbue the amulet with a living, breathing power, transforming it from a simple carving into a potent shield against evil, chaos, and sickness. The person wearing it wouldn't just be wearing a symbol. They'd be carrying a fragment of divine leonine might, charged and ready to defend them in both this life and the next. Have you ever felt the need for a powerful guardian in your life? The ancient Egyptians certainly did, and for them, one of the most potent symbols of protection was the mighty lion. This wasn't just about admiring a fierce predator. It was about channeling its strength, courage, and protective instincts into their daily lives and sacred ceremonies. From intricate amulets worn close to the heart to grand temple rituals, the lion was a constant, reassuring presence against the forces of chaos. But how exactly did they harness this leonine power? It was all about the ritual. Priests would perform complex ceremonies designed to invoke the protective aspects of lion deities. These rituals weren't just abstract prayers. They were dynamic, multi-sensory experiences. Imagine incense filling the air, the rhythmic chanting of hymns, and the presentation of specific offerings, all intended to create a sacred space where divine energy could be summoned and directed. One common practice involved charging amulets, infusing small lion figurines or pendants with protective power through incantations, so that the wearer carried a piece of divine guardianship with them wherever they went. At the very heart of these protective rituals stood a truly formidable figure, the lioness goddess, Sekhmet. Her name literally means the powerful one, and she was a force to be reckoned with. Sekhmet was the embodiment of the sun's scorching heat, a warrior goddess who could unleash plagues upon the enemies of the pharaoh but could also heal and protect those who revered her. To invoke Sekhmet was to call upon an untamable, primal power. Priests dedicated to her cult would perform daily rituals to appease her fiery nature, offering libations and singing hymns to soothe her and turn her destructive potential into a shield for Egypt. They believed that by honoring Sekhmet, they were ensuring the balance of the cosmos, transforming her rage into a powerful force for healing and protection. She was the ultimate guardian, the divine lioness whose roar could ward off any evil. So the next time you see an image of an Egyptian lion, remember it's more than just a beautiful artifact. It's a symbol of ancient rituals, divine power, and the eternal quest for protection. Ever wondered how the ancient Egyptians saw lions? Not just as fierce predators, but as powerful protectors. Let's delve into a fascinating and intense ritual from the era of the New Kingdom, sometimes known as the Wine of Blood. Now, this wasn't a real, gruesome ceremony. It was a symbolic act, a sacred drama performed by priests to appease a powerful goddess. Imagine this: the Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, sometimes turned a reddish color from silt during its flood. To the ancient Egyptians, this looked like the river was filled with wine or even blood. They connected this to a myth about the goddess Sekhmet, the lion-headed daughter of the sun god Re. The story goes that Rhea became angry with humanity's disobedience and sent Sekhmet to punish them. But her fury was so immense, she almost destroyed everyone. To stop her, Re cleverly tricked her. He had vast quantities of beer dyed red with pomegranate juice and poured it all over the fields. Sekhmet, thinking it was blood, drank it all, became intoxicated, and her rampage ended. She transformed from a goddess of destruction into a gentle, protective deity. This myth was central to Egyptian beliefs about balance, the delicate line between chaos and order. To commemorate this, priests would perform rituals where red-colored wine or beer symbolized this life-saving trick. They would pour it out as an offering, a plea for protection and a celebration of averting disaster. This wasn't just a story. It was a ritual that reinforced the dual nature of their gods and the world itself. The same lioness goddess who could bring about destruction was also the one who could offer fierce protection. These ceremonies were a way to honor her power and ensure she remained their guardian, not their destroyer. The lion symbol, therefore, carried this deep meaning in amulets and jewelry, a reminder of divine power, the taming of fury, and the promise of ultimate safety. It's incredible how a simple story could shape an entire civilization's approach to life, death, and divine protection. Have you ever wondered what the ancient Egyptians feared most? Beyond the grand pyramids and golden pharaohs, their world was filled with unseen dangers and chaotic forces. To combat these fears, they turned to powerful symbols, and one of the most potent was the lion. This wasn't just any animal. It was a divine guardian, a symbol of ferocious protection and solar power. Today, we read journeying back in time to uncover how the lion became a sacred protector in ancient Egyptian life, particularly through a fascinating concept known as the circle of fire. In the scorching Egyptian landscape, the lion was the undisputed king of the desert. Its raw strength and fierce nature made it the perfect emblem for royalty and divine authority. The pharaoh was often depicted as a sphinx, a hybrid of a human head and a lion's body, symbolizing his intelligence and formidable power, but the lion's symbolism went even deeper. It was closely linked to the sun god, Ra. The lioness goddess, Sekhmet, was known as the Eye of Ra, a terrifying and powerful deity who could both unleash destruction and ward off evil. Her fiery breath was believed to create the desert itself, a testament to her immense power. This connection to fire and protection is beautifully captured in what Egyptologists call the circle of fire. Imagine magical wands, often made of hippopotamus ivory, inscribed with a procession of divine beings. These wands were not for show. They were practical tools used in rituals to create a protective, invisible barrier around a person, especially a vulnerable mother and child. Among the powerful figures carved on these wands, lions and lion-headed deities were front and center. By invoking them, the user was essentially drawing a circle of divine, fiery energy, a supernatural force field to repel malevolent spirits and unseen threats. These weren't just abstract beliefs. We see this circle of fire concept brought to life in everyday objects. Amulets in the shape of lions were worn for personal safety. Beds were carved with lion feet, symbolically placing the sleeper under the animal's protection throughout the night. Even simple household items could be adorned with lion imagery, transforming them into small bastions of security. From the pharaoh's throne to a baby's crib, the lion was a constant, reassuring presence, a divine guardian whose fiery roar echoed through eternity, promising to keep the forces of chaos at bay. Have you ever wondered why lions, creatures of the vast savanna, held such a revered place in ancient Egypt? It wasn't just about their strength. For the Egyptians, the lion was a powerful symbol of protection, royalty, and the divine, deeply woven into their spiritual lives through amulets, jewelry, and sacred rituals. Let's journey back in time. Imagine the sun-drenched landscape of ancient Egypt. The lion, a master of both the day and the twilight hours, was seen as a guardian of the horizon. This duality was personified by the god Aker, often depicted as two lions facing away from each other, guarding the entrance and exit of the underworld. They protected the sun god Re on his perilous nightly journey, ensuring he would rise again at dawn. This divine connection made lion imagery a potent force against chaos and evil. This symbolism was captured in everyday objects. People wore amulets shaped like lions or lion-headed deities, like the fierce goddess Sekhmet, as personal shields. These weren't just decorative trinkets. They were believed to be imbued with the lion's protective power, warding off danger and illness. Royal jewelry, from bracelets to pectoral ornaments, often featured majestic lion heads. For the pharaoh, the lion was a symbol of their own divine authority and martial prowess, a statement of their ability to protect the nation just as the lion protected the sun. But perhaps the most profound role of the lion was in the sealing of the soul. This wasn't a single, maimed ritual, but a concept embedded in funerary practices. When a person passed away, their tomb was considered a gateway to the afterlife. It was a vulnerable space, needing divine protection. Statues and reliefs of lions were placed at tomb entrances, acting as eternal sentinels. They were meant to guard the deceased's soul, or ba, from malevolent spirits that might seek to harm or obstruct it on its journey to the field of reeds. By placing these powerful lion symbols, the Egyptians were effectively sealing the tomb, ensuring the soul's safe passage and eternal peace. It was the ultimate act of magical protection, entrusting the spirit of their loved ones to the mightiest guardian they knew. So the next time you see an Egyptian artifact bearing the image of a lion, remember its deeper meaning. It's more than just art. It's a testament to an ancient belief in divine guardianship, a symbol of courage, and a sacred seal protecting the soul on its eternal journey. Have you ever wondered why lions and lionesses are everywhere in ancient Egyptian art? From towering statues to tiny, intricate amulets, this powerful creature was far more than just the king of the savannah. It was a profound symbol of divine power, protection, and the very cycle of life and death. Let's start with the lioness. In ancient Egypt, the female of the species was often more revered and feared than the male. Why? Because she embodied a raw, untamable feminine power. Picture this: the scorching desert sun, a force of both life and destruction. This was the domain of goddesses like Sekhmet, the lioness-headed deity. Her name literally means the powerful one. She was the fierce protector of the pharaoh, a warrior goddess who could unleash plagues upon her enemies. Yet she was also a master healer, capable of curing disease. This duality is key. The Egyptians understood that the power to destroy is linked to the power to create and heal. When you wore an amulet of a lioness, you weren't just asking for protection. You were channeling that divine fierce energy to guard your own life and well-being. Think of other goddesses like Bastet, who started as a lioness warrior before evolving into the more gentle cat goddess. The lioness was the wild, protective mother, a force you definitely wanted on your side. But the lion's symbolism doesn't stop with feminine power. It also roared with the fire of creation and the light of the sun itself. The lion was intrinsically linked to Re, the sun god. Each morning, the sun would rise, conquering the darkness of night, just as a powerful lion would dominate its territory. This daily victory was a symbol of renewal and rebirth. The Aker, a symbol of two lions facing opposite directions, represented the horizon, one lion for yesterday and one for tomorrow. They guarded the gateway through which the sun traveled each day, holding the delicate balance between the past and the future. When a pharaoh sat on a throne adorned with lions, he was tapping into this solar power. He was presenting himself as the earthly embodiment of Ra, the keeper of order and light against the forces of chaos. The lion, with its golden mane like the sun's rays, became the ultimate emblem of royalty and divine authority. So the next time you see an Egyptian lion, whether carved on a temple wall or etched into a piece of jewelry, remember its deep meaning. It's a symbol of fierce protection from the lioness goddesses and the radiant life-giving power of the sun god. It's a timeless reminder of the cycles of life and the untamable forces of nature. We re-journeying back to the land of the pharaohs to uncover the powerful symbolism of one of ancient Egypt's most revered creatures, the lion. When you think of Egyptian gods, you might picture falcons or jackals, but the lion held a unique and formidable place in their beliefs, embodying a fascinating duality. On one hand, the lion was the ultimate symbol of power and fierce protection. Its sheer strength and royal presence made it the perfect guardian. Pharaohs often associated themselves with lions to project an image of unconquerable might. They were seen as protectors of the sun god Re, battling the serpent of chaos, Apep, every single night to ensure the sun would rise again. This protective aspect is why we see lion figures guarding temples and tombs. They were eternal sentinels against evil. Think of the Great Sphinx, with its lion body and human head, a monumental guardian of the Giza Plateau for millennia. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The very same creature that represented protection could also embody terrifying, destructive force. This duality is perfectly captured in the goddess Sekhmet. With the head of a lioness, she was known as a mighty warrior and a bringer of plagues, a divine force of destruction sent to punish humanity. Yet Sekhmet was also a powerful goddess of healing. Priests of Sekhmet were often doctors, and people would pray to her to ward off illness. She could destroy, but she could also mend. This shows how the Egyptians understood that the forces of nature, much like the lion, had two sides. One that could be wild and dangerous, and another that could be a source of incredible strength and renewal. This powerful symbolism was woven into everyday life. Egyptians wore lion amulets for courage and protection. Lion imagery adorned furniture, jewelry, and ceremonial objects, invoking the animal's strength and royal authority. It was a constant reminder of the delicate balance between order and chaos, destruction and creation, ferocity and guardianship. The lion wasn't just an animal. It was a profound concept that helped the ancient Egyptians make sense of their world and the powerful forces within it. Have you ever wondered why lions and lionesses appear so frequently in ancient Egyptian art? It's not just because they were majestic predators roaming the Nile Valley. To the ancient Egyptians, these powerful felines were divine protectors, deeply connected to the sun, royalty, and the very concept of safeguarding the soul. Let's delve into the world of the lioness, a sacred guardian in amulets, jewelry, and rituals. In the vast Egyptian pantheon, several powerful goddesses took the form of a lioness. The most famous is perhaps Sekhmet, whose name means she who is powerful. She was the fierce eye of the sun god Re, a warrior goddess who could unleash plagues upon humanity but could also ward off disease and destruction. Wearing an amulet of Sekhmet wasn't just a fashion statement. It was like carrying a divine bodyguard, a personal protector against evil forces and sickness. Imagine the comfort that brought in a world without modern medicine. Then there's Bastet, often depicted as a cat but whose earlier form was that of a lioness. She represented the more nurturing, protective aspects of the feline spirit. While Sekhmet was the scorching midday sun, Bastet was the gentle, warming morning light. This duality shows the Egyptians' sophisticated understanding of power. It could be both fierce and gentle, destructive and life-giving. Lioness figures were also placed on furniture, especially beds and headrests, to physically guard the sleeper during their vulnerable journey through the dream world, which was seen as a space connected to the afterlife. This role as a guardian extended beyond life and into the eternal journey. The Aker, a mythological creature depicted as two lions sitting back-to-back, guarded the horizon. One lion faced west, where the sun set and the journey to the underworld began, while the other faced east, awaiting the sun's rebirth. They symbolized the cyclical nature of life and death, protecting the deceased as their soul traveled through the darkness to be reborn in the field of reeds. So, from a tiny amulet worn around the neck to grand temple statues, the lioness was a constant, powerful presence, a symbol of fierce, unwavering protection for both the living and the dead. Ever felt a fierce protective energy stir within you? That's your inner lioness roaring to life, and you're not alone. For thousands of years, the ancient Egyptians revered this very power, seeing the lion as a sacred symbol of ultimate protection and divine strength. Let's journey back to the land of pharaohs. Picture this: the sun beats down on the golden sands, and in the distance, a lioness, the fiercest hunter of the Nile, stands guard over her cubs. To the Egyptians, this wasn't just a scene from nature, it was a divine message. They saw the lioness as a manifestation of powerful goddesses like Sekhmet, the warrior goddess of healing and destruction, and Bastet, the protector of the home. These weren't just myths. They were living energies that shaped their world. This reverence wasn't just confined to grand temple walls. It was personal. People wore lion amulets, intricate pieces of jewelry carved from carnelian, lapis lazuli, and gold, believing these small icons held immense power. A lion-headed bracelet wasn't just a fashion statement. It was a shield, a personal guardian that walked with them, warding off danger and illness. They would place lion-shaped furniture in their homes, like the famous legs on Tutankhamun's beds, to ensure a safe and protected rest, guarded by the spirit of the lion through the night. These rituals and symbols were all about awakening a strength that lies within us all. It's the courage to face your challenges head-on, the instinct to protect those you love, and the quiet confidence of knowing your own power. The Egyptians believed that by honoring the lion, they could invoke its spirit within themselves. This wasn't about aggression, but about a balanced, regal strength, the lion of protection. It is a timeless reminder that we all have a wellspring of courage and resilience waiting to be unleashed. So next time you need a boost of confidence, remember the sacred lions of Egypt. Channel that ancient power, stand tall, and let your own inner lion roar. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying back to the land of pharaohs, but with a modern twist. We've explored how lions were revered as symbols of power and divine protection in ancient Egypt. But what happened to these powerful symbols? Did they vanish with the ancient kingdom? The fascinating answer is no. The lion's roar has never truly been silenced. Its echo resonates even today, found in places you might not expect. Think about the majestic lion statues guarding the entrances of modern buildings, museums, and libraries worldwide. This architectural tradition is a direct descendant of the ancient Egyptian practice of placing lion figures at temple gates to ward off evil. Even the iconic British lions or the lion on the flag of Venice trace their symbolic lineage back to this ancient source of inspiration, representing courage, royalty, and strength. The lion's image has become a universal emblem of might and majesty, a cultural inheritance from the banks of the Nile. What's even more exciting is the conscious revival of this sacred symbol in our contemporary world. In modern jewelry, the lion has made a huge comeback. Designers are drawing inspiration from ancient Egyptian amulets, creating stunning necklaces, rings, and bracelets featuring lion heads and motifs. These aren't just fashion statements. For many, they are personal talismans, worn to invoke the same sense of courage and protection that the ancients sought. From high-fashion runways to everyday accessories, the lion is being re-embraced as a powerful emblem of personal strength and resilience. It connects us to a timeless legacy of power. So the next time you see a lion symbol, whether it's guarding a building or worn as a piece of jewelry, remember its deep and ancient roots. It's more than just a design. It's a thread connecting our modern world to the sacred rituals and beliefs of ancient Egypt. The Lion of Protection continues its watch, a testament to the enduring power of symbols across millennia. Have you ever wondered what gave ancient Egyptians their fierce courage and sense of security in a world full of unknowns? A big part of the answer roars back from the past: the mighty lion. This wasn't just a powerful animal to them. It was a divine symbol of protection, a guardian against chaos and evil. Let's dive into the sacred world of the lion in ancient Egyptian amulets, jewelry, and rituals. The image of the lion was everywhere, a constant reminder of strength and royal power. The pharaoh himself was often depicted as a sphinx, a creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human, symbolizing his immense strength and divine wisdom. This fusion showed that the king possessed the raw, untamable power of the king of beasts. But this protection wasn't just for royalty. Everyday Egyptians sought the lion's guardianship in their daily lives. This is where protective jewelry comes in. Imagine wearing a piece of this ancient power. Small amulets carved in the shape of a lion, or even just a lion's head, were incredibly popular. These weren't just decorative items. They were potent talismans. People believed that by wearing a lion amulet, they could invoke the creature's ferocity and courage. It was like having a personal, miniature guardian to ward off danger, sickness, and malevolent spirits. These amulets were often made from materials like faience, carnelian, or lapis lazuli, each believed to have its own magical properties that amplified the lion's protective power. Think about it. A mother might place a lion amulet around her child's neck to keep them safe. A soldier heading into battle would clutch one for courage. They were worn on necklaces, bracelets, and even sewn into the linen wrappings of mummies to protect the deceased on their perilous journey into the afterlife. The lion's image on a headdress could guard the sleeper from nightmares, transforming an ordinary object into a shield. These pieces of jewelry were a tangible connection to the divine, a wearable prayer for safety in a world where the line between the physical and the supernatural was beautifully blurred. The lion of protection was a constant companion, its silent roar echoing through the ages. Hello, seekers of ancient wisdom! Today, we'll be diving into a fascinating topic: how the mighty Egyptian goddess Sekhmet has found a powerful new voice in the modern New Age movement. If you've ever felt drawn to ancient deities, you'll want to hear this. For thousands of years, Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess, was known as the Fierce One, a symbol of both divine retribution and potent healing. She was the protector of the pharaohs and the bringer of plagues, but also the master of medicine who could cure them. This duality is exactly what makes her so compelling to people today. In contemporary spiritual circles, Sekhmet isn't just a historical figure. She's a living archetype of empowerment. Many people connect with her when they need to find their inner strength, set firm boundaries, or stand up for themselves. Think of her as the ultimate spiritual warrior, a guide for anyone feeling overwhelmed or needing to reclaim their personal power. Her energy is seen as a transformative fire that burns away what no longer serves you, making space for healing and renewal. You'll find her image on modern altars, in meditation practices, and worn as jewelry. People invoke her name in rituals aimed at personal protection, overcoming obstacles, and deep emotional healing. She represents the fierce, untamed aspect of the divine feminine, a force that encourages us to be bold, courageous, and unapologetically authentic. She teaches us that true healing sometimes requires a powerful, cleansing fire. So why the resurgence? In our chaotic modern world, many are searching for spiritual anchors that are both powerful and profound. Sekhmet offers just that: a connection to an ancient, formidable energy that can help us navigate today's challenges with strength and grace. She reminds us that within each of us lies a protector, a healer, and a force to be reckoned with. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. We've journeyed through ancient temples and uncovered the secrets of pharaohs, all centered around the powerful symbolism of the lion. But what about today? Has the roar of this magnificent creature faded into history? Absolutely not. The spirit of the Egyptian lion is alive and well, influencing modern art and even our wellness practices. Let's talk about art. Look around you, from grand sculptures in city parks to intricate designs in contemporary jewelry. You'll find the lion's image everywhere. Modern artists, just like their ancient Egyptian counterparts, are drawn to its dual nature. They capture its fierce, protective power and its serene, regal calm. Think of a powerful CEO wearing lion head cufflinks. That's not just a fashion choice. It's a modern amulet, a symbol of strength and leadership, echoing the pharaohs who wore lion pendants for courage and divine authority. It's a timeless emblem of confidence and command. Now, let's take a deep breath and shift our focus to meditation and mindfulness. In guided meditation practices, the lion often appears as a spirit animal or a symbol of inner strength. When you're encouraged to find your inner lion, you're tapping into that ancient Egyptian concept of courage and resilience. It's about awakening the protective energy within you to face life's challenges. The lioness goddess Sekhmet, a fierce protector, is also a healer. This duality inspires modern wellness practices that balance assertive energy with calm restoration. Visualizing a lion can help you feel grounded, confident, and secure, a powerful guardian for your own inner peace. So the next time you see a lion in a painting, a piece of jewelry, or hear its name in a meditation class, remember its deep, ancient roots. The Lion of Egypt isn't just a relic of the past. It's a living symbol of strength, protection, and regal calm that continues to empower and inspire us every single day. It's a beautiful reminder that the wisdom of the ancients is still very much with us. Have you ever felt a fierce, protective instinct rise within you? A raw power you didn't know you possessed? The ancient Egyptians knew this feeling well, and they gave it a face. The majestic lion. For them, the lion wasn't just a powerful predator. It was a profound symbol of divine authority, courage, and unwavering protection. From the mighty sphinx guarding the pyramids to the intricate amulets worn close to the heart, the lion's image was everywhere. It was a constant reminder of the pharaoh's power, believed to be as formidable as a lion's roar. But this symbol wasn't just for royalty. Everyday people sought the lion's strength. They wore lion-headed amulets and decorated their homes with its likeness, hoping to ward off danger and channel its bravery into their own lives. Think of Sekhmet, the lioness goddess of healing and destruction, a perfect embodiment of this duality. She could bring plagues, but she could also cure the sick, showcasing the lion's role as both a fierce guardian and a nurturing protector. This connection goes deeper, touching something primal within us all. It's what we might call the lion within. This isn't about physical strength, but about an inner fortitude. It's the courage to stand up for what you believe in, the strength to protect your loved ones, and the resilience to face life's challenges head-on. The Egyptians understood that true power wasn't just external. It was an internal fire, a spirit that couldn't be tamed. This brings us to the inner flame. This flame is your passion, your drive, your unshakable will. The lion symbol encourages us to nurture this inner fire. When you wear a piece of jewelry with a lion motif or simply visualize its strength, you're not just connecting with an ancient symbol, you're awakening your own potential. You're reminding yourself to be bold, to lead with integrity, and to live with a heart full of courage. The lion teaches us that our greatest protection comes from the strength we find inside ourselves. So the next time you see the image of a lion, remember its ancient legacy. It's more than just a king of the savannah. It's a timeless emblem of the protector, the leader, and the unyielding spirit that resides in each of us. Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're venturing into the sun-scorched lands of ancient Egypt to uncover the powerful symbolism of one of its most revered creatures, the lion. Far more than just a fierce predator, the lion was a complex and sacred symbol woven into the very fabric of Egyptian life, from royal power to divine protection. Imagine the ancient world, a place of order, or constantly threatened by the forces of chaos. For the Egyptians, the lion was the ultimate guardian against this chaos. Its raw power, courage, and majestic presence made it the perfect embodiment of strength and protection. This is why you see lions everywhere in their art and architecture. Think of the Great Sphinx of Giza, a colossal guardian with the body of a lion and the head of a king, eternally watching over the pyramids. This monumental fusion wasn't just for show. It was a powerful statement of the pharaoh's role as the defender of his people, channeling the lion's might. This association with divine power meant lion imagery was central to many gods and goddesses. The most famous is probably Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess of war and healing. She was the powerful one, a fierce protector of the sun god Ra, capable of unleashing plagues but also of curing diseases. When you see a statue of Sekhmet, you're looking at the embodiment of divine fury and motherly protection all at once. Even goddesses like Bastet, often depicted as a cat, had a lioness form, reminding everyone of the wild, untamable power that lay just beneath the surface. This powerful symbolism wasn't just reserved for massive statues and temples. Everyday Egyptians sought the lion's protective embrace through personal amulets and jewelry. Small lion figurines carved from faience, carnelian, or lapis lazuli were incredibly popular. People wore them as necklaces or bracelets, believing these tiny guardians would ward off evil spirits and physical danger. Imagine holding a small, beautifully crafted lion amulet in your hand, feeling its symbolic strength giving you courage as you went about your day. These objects weren't just decorative. They were personal shields, tangible pieces of divine power that connected the wearer directly to the might of the gods. From the pharaoh's throne to the commoner's necklace, the lion stood as the ultimate symbol of strength, royalty, and sacred protection, a true guardian against the chaos of the world. In ancient Egypt, they had a powerful symbol for this exact feeling, the lion. Lions weren't just seen as ferocious hunters. They were revered as the ultimate guardians, Their immense strength and courage made them the perfect symbol for protection, a concept the ancient Egyptians took very seriously. This wasn't just about protecting themselves from physical harm, but also about safeguarding their families, their homes, and even their spirits in the afterlife. This deep respect for the lions as protective power is why we see it everywhere in their art and culture. Think about the Great Sphinx of Giza, a monumental lion body with a human head, standing guard over the pyramids for millennia. It's the ultimate symbol of royal power and divine protection, watching over the pharaohs even after death. But the lion's influence wasn't just on a grand scale. Ordinary Egyptians wanted to bring this protective energy into their daily lives. They wore amulets and jewelry carved into the shape of lions or lion-headed deities like Sekhmet, the warrior goddess of healing and protection. These weren't just beautiful ornaments. They were personal talismans believed to ward off evil spirits, sickness, and misfortune. A small lion charm worn around the neck was like having a personal bodyguard, a constant source of strength and courage. Even household items were adorned with lions. Chairs, beds, and chests often featured lion-shaped legs or carvings. By incorporating these images into their homes, they were essentially creating a protective fortress, with the spirit of the lion guarding their family while they ate, slept, and lived. It was a beautiful way to infuse their everyday existence with a sense of safety and divine power. From the monumental sphinx to a tiny personal amulet, the lion was the ever-present guardian of ancient Egypt. It represented the fierce, unwavering desire to protect what you love, a timeless instinct that connects us to their world, thousands of years later. In ancient Egypt, one creature's roar echoed with divine might: the lion. More than just a king of the savannah, the lion was a symbol of fierce protection, royal authority, and the untamable power of the sun. This wasn't just art. It was active magic, a guardian spirit captured in stone and gold. Imagine walking through the bustling markets of Thebes. You'd see the lion everywhere. It was carved into the thrones of pharaohs, signifying their divine right to rule and their duty to protect their people. The Great Sphinx at Giza, with its lion's body and human head, stands as an eternal guardian, a monumental fusion of intelligence and raw power, watching over the sacred necropolis for millennia. But the lion's protection wasn't just for royalty. Everyday Egyptians wore amulets shaped like lions or lion-headed deities to ward off danger. These weren't mere trinkets. They were powerful charms believed to invoke the lion's ferocious spirit, creating a shield of spiritual energy around the wearer. Pregnant women, in particular, sought the protection of Tauret, a goddess with the hindquarters of a lion, to guard them and their unborn children through the perilous journey of childbirth. Even the gods themselves harnessed this power. Sekhmet, the lioness-headed goddess of healing and destruction, was both feared and revered. She could unleash plagues upon Egypt, but could also be appeased through rituals to become a powerful protector against illness. Priests would perform intricate ceremonies to channel her ferocity into a force for good, demonstrating the delicate balance between chaos and order that the lion represented. From the powerful pharaoh to the humble artisan, the spirit of the lion was a constant, living presence, a divine roar that promised safety in a world of uncertainty. If the roar of the lion stirred something within you, let it guide your path. Follow our channel for more journeys into ancient energy, spiritual protection, and divine wisdom. Thank you for watching.